Welcome to Season 4 of Soccer Over Gotham, an NWSL podcast covering New Jersey, New York, Gotham FC, hosted by Ruby Pinto and produced by Gary Gibson.
Hey everyone, it's Gary. We recorded this episode on Tuesday before the news broke. I just wanted to acknowledge that we as a team here at Soccer Over Gotham are devastated to learn that Midge Burse recently suffered a torn ACL. This is a devastating blow, not just for Gotham FC, but for fans of the U.S. Women's National Team hoping to see her shine at the Olympics. Now, Midge is an incredible player. Her work ethic and talent are truly inspiring. While this is a major setback, we know Midge's determination will carry her through this recovery. Ruby, Noella, and myself are sending all our positive thoughts and vibes and wishing her a speedy recovery. So thanks for listening, and now on to the show.
Welcome to episode 96 of Soccer Over Gotham, the regular season opener. We have a great show for all of you. Gary, what do we have in this episode?
You know, I didn't think we'd have enough to talk about this episode, but we got a whole lot. Things are just seem to be coming in. Gotham remains undefeated in the regular season, picking up their first win away at the Thorns. Then we have Gotham National Team, She Believes Cup roster. We'll discuss what that means for this team as the injuries are piling up. And then we have more fan polls. We also have this amazing win over Portland to cover, which is exciting. And then we will look forward to our matchup against the Courage, who Gotham has not lost to in 5 matches. So we're going to break down how Gotham does it and how they can keep it going. Our guest this episode is going to be one of my friends from the Uproar supporter group. I usually wait till later on in the season for the supporter groups, but we're done with Courage by May. So let's get it going, right? So Ruby, how are you? We got a lot to talk about.
I know, we really do have a lot to talk about. I'm doing well. And I feel like everyone out there, we know about this bridge in Maryland that collapsed. And that is a big fear of mine. Just driving in one bridge and then all of a sudden you're just going down. It's crazy stuff. P. Diddy stuff, crazy stuff. I don't know what's going on in the world, but yeah. And on the good side is that Gotham got a win. We're in 4th place in the table. So that's really good for us. And we'll talk about all of that. But how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I plan to do this season a lot more supporter group interviews. I love supporter groups. Just my thing. And I also plan on doing some more #OnceGotham interviews. I'm going to start reaching out to some other past Gotham players and see if we can get them on the podcast, like Gina and Nicole. Yeah, I can't wait to do those. And yeah, just let us know who you think we should check in with and let us go. So Ruby, we have just a real quick podcast update. So we have now over 50 5-star ratings on both Spotify and iTunes combined. So thanks everybody for rating us that highly. And right under the logo on Spotify is the 5-star rating. Just put us there so do that for us. We appreciate you all. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you guys for giving us 5-star rating. That's amazing. Also, you can write reviews, I believe. So anything you want to hear or anyone you want on the podcast, just write it there. We'll be looking.
Yeah, and we'll read them on the show. Let's get to some team news. So Gotham National Team, She Believes Cup roster has dropped. It is a very interesting roster, especially for this club. We end up with 4 players, Davidson, Dunn, Niswanger, and Sonnet on this list. Just their first game is going to kick off on April 6th at 12:30 p.m. against Japan. And then they're going to play on Tuesday, April 9th, to be determined against the winner or loser of Canada and Brazil, which is very exciting.
Yeah, that's really exciting about the She Believes Cup. Unfortunately, Purse is not in this list. Williams and Lavelle are not on this list due to injury from the last tournament. So that really sucks for them. But let's hope they're healthy enough because we have an Olympic competition coming up this year. So we want to keep them healthy so they go to that Olympic. I think they all deserve it. But yeah, I think this game against Japan is going to be really, really interesting because Japan in the World Cup had a great, great tournament. So we'll see how the U.S. plays against them. And another side note there, the US in the FIFA rankings, they dropped to number 4. This is first time in history that has ever happened. So, I mean, they need to get all these wins so their ranking goes up. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. And I kind of heard, I saw somewhere, I think it was a tagging third said that the US is going to play at 7 p.m. on April 9th. Doesn't matter if they're going for third place or they're going for the championship. They're going to play at 7 p.m. because they're the US.
Sounds good. When the I'm trying not to pay attention because it's like when the roster dropped, I was both really excited and I also took a big sigh because I'm like, our players are going to have to play again, and our players keep coming back injured from this thing. So, like, I kind of want to it's a friendly tournament, keep them healthy,
so
just survive that. It's just crazy. It comes up so quickly. Like they're playing essentially like a week and a half from now, which is a lot because then they play that tournament, they come back, then they have the send off games, and then they come back to the Olympics, and they come back, and they got the summer tournaments, and then playoffs, and
and the new tournament, the Summer Cup with the Liga MX Femenil. So a lot of things are going on this year.
Yeah. In non-Gotham roster news, I'm excited to have Macario back, a game changer and one of the best players in the world, and she's going to make such a difference for this club, and she has a skill set that nobody else has, and I'm so excited for her to get back into the mix, and Swanson as well. That's going to be very exciting for this team. And I'm really excited about 2 young players, like Eva Gaetino. She left college instead of going to the draft, she went to PSG, and she's been doing really well. A really tall, physical center back, and she was considered the top in the draft. So I'm excited to see her on that roster. But I think what really excites me is that 16-year-old Johannes from Virginia, who's incredible. She's very pacey. She has great touch, and she can play players through. And she has another skill set that this national team does not have. So I think she's going to be excellent, and I hope that she can build up and become a regular for this roster.
Yeah, it's very exciting, this new era of the U.S. women's national team, because we're seeing a lot of young players coming in and get the opportunity to show what they got. It's really good to do that because we'll see the talent. I mean, we're still building for the future. We have a World Cup coming in 2027. So if we start early, like recruiting or looking at the talent that there is out there, especially in these young ones, they're really, really talented. So I guess Hayes is just planning for the future. And I think the U.S. has a bright future.
They do. And the games that most likely, if you're looking at it from Gotham's perspective, the game against the Courage on the 30th and the April 14th game against the Current, more than likely the players will miss those games coming back to just being fit and stuff like that, which it stinks because as we see with this week's game, the players didn't have a really good preseason. They didn't have a preseason with the club. They came in for about a week and then they played, and now they got to leave again. So it's I imagine as a coach, imagine Coach Armour is pretty frustrated at this point that players keep coming and going and he can't get a good run with his group. But that stinks. But we have some other news. Gotham dropped their leadership group for the 2024 season, which includes goalkeeper Michelle Betos, McCall Zerboni, midfielder, defender Kelly O'Hara, forward Lynn Williams, defender Tierna Davidson, and forward Crystal Dunn.
I think it's really interesting, this new concept of having a leadership group rather than just one captain for the season. And I think this might be a decision because all these players bring different things to the table. For example, Betos and Zerboni, even O'Hara. Well, most of these players are actually veterans, so they all bring that veteran mentality to Gotham. Let's remember that Zerboni was the captain for Gotham before, and now she's coming back as a leader for this team. And I do see her as a leader for this team. She's always out there and supporting the group, and I love her talks and her hype up moments with Gotham. So I think it's really interesting, and I think it will work. What do you think?
Yeah, I do think it will work as well. I guess Allie raised the bar so much they needed a whole village to fill that leadership void that she left. But we were having questions last game about, is O'Hara going to be the captain? And if she is the captain, how is she going to fit into the roster with Bernina and Neiswanger if they're both there playing? Mm-hmm. So instead of okay, maybe they're just going to move around to different positions on the field. But now it looks like the captain's band is going to get passed around, and which is a good thing. I think there's obviously strong leaders throughout this entire roster, and you get 4 or 5 captains in this squad, again, including Betos and Zerboni. So I think this is a good move for the team. Question for you, Ruby.
Mm-hmm.
The Gotham became a super team. We became a super team. They have a leadership council. Who would be our leadership council?
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
Maybe Nicole Baxter and Jenna Tinelli. We'll put them on the leadership council.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, those are strong ones. Definitely. Yeah, definitely Jenna. Definitely Baxter. Who else would I say? Put me in the spot here. Let me think. Who else has been another top? Like, I think Becky. I mean, she's been really solid for the podcast and listenings. I think I'll add her there too.
Yeah. Let's get to this game, shall we?
All right, let's go.
All right, we have our another fan poll. So I set out a fan poll on Twitter at @OverGothamPod, and I asked how many combined goals, since Portland gave up 5 goals in their previous game, was going to be scored between both teams. 6% said 0-1, 57% said 2-3, 28% said 3-4, and 9% said more. What were your thoughts when you saw this poll, Ruby?
The 9% that said more, that's what wishful thinking. And and then the 6% that said 0-1, congratulations, because you were right.
Mm-hmm.
I said when I saw the poll, I chose 2-3. I honestly thought there was going to be more goals in this game, but it didn't really happen. Again, we're going to get into it, but this game was kind of rough.
When I saw the poll, I got a little bit nervous. Reason I got nervous is because Gotham has not shown, as I've said many times on the podcast, the ability to be ruthless. So when I saw like 3 to 4 or 5 goals on this poll, I was like, ooh, that doesn't sound like Gotham to me. So I'm glad it worked out. I probably would have been somewhere in that 2 to 3 range. I probably would have been there. But yes, congrats to the pessimists that are in the 0-1 category. Now, Gotham travels west to Portland to kick off their 2024 NWSL campaign, and they start the season 1 game behind due to their participation in the Challenge Cup, a narrow loss to the Wave. Gotham gets their national teamers back in the fold for the first time since preseason. Portland is coming off a wild game where they scored 4 goals and lost, and they are looking to right the ship and get a bounce-back win at home. And the ref was Ricardo Fierro. This is his 11th match and his 2nd NWSL game. His last NWSL game, he gave Trinity Rodman a red card against the Courage in October of last year. Injuries. This is what we were talking about earlier. This injury report is long, and it seems to be getting longer. We have Kristen Edmonds out with a knee, Sinead Farrelly out with her thigh, McCall, season ending, can come back soon. Rose Lavelle, lower leg. Abby Smith should be back soon. Taylor Smith, Lynn Williams, and Maitani Lopez was questionable, but she ended up being out for this one. Just Ruby, when you first saw that injury report, what are you thinking?
Oof. First of all, well, I wasn't really expecting any of the others to come back just yet, but I was hoping that Lopez was going to be able to play this game. Unfortunately, she was not able to play, and that was to me, that's a big loss because she's been really, really solid for the team.
I'm excited to see Kristen Edmonds get back. Obviously, Sinead Farrelly, I can't wait. She hopefully should be back soon as well. And hopefully we get some of these players coming off this list because it seems to be going in the wrong direction right now.
I think Zerboni might come back pretty soon. I saw on her Instagram that she posted that she's ready to fly. So thinking she's probably ready to come back. Hopefully she is physically.
Onto the formation, we got Cassie Miller in goal, Jenna Neiswanger back at her left back position, Tierna Davidson and newcomer Sam Hyatt into the center back role, in for Lopez, Kelly O'Hara at right back instead of Bernina. We had the midfield of Delaney Sheehan, Neely Martin, and Emily Sonnet, and the front line of Crystal Dunn, Esther Gonzalez, and Margaret Midge Purse. Excited about this lineup. What do you think, Ruby?
Oof. Just looking at this lineup, like on paper, this looks amazing. Mm-hmm. I mean, most of these players have national team experience. Dunn, Gonzalez, Purse, Sonnet, Nicewonger, Davidson, and O'Hara. So most of the team have a lot of experience. So when you look at this lineup, you're thinking Gotham has this in the bag.
Yeah, the ones that were healthy, Tierna, Emily, and Crystal, they played because you got to get the minutes because they're going to be gone soon. So you got them into the starting lineup. And again, if you look at the injury list and look at this roster, you're like, this lineup, you're like, that's still a good roster. It's
Yeah.
still a good lineup. And there's a lot of former Thorns players in this A team, which is interesting as well. And welcome to Gotham Sam Hyatt, her first start. Getting onto the game, I mean, I think it was you could say it's a slow start from Gotham as they were just unable to move Portland side to side. And for the first time that I can remember, I think Gotham spent most of the first half in their end, like unable to really slow the attacking third down with Portland. Midge takes a shot to the knee and an awkward landing and stays down in pain. She re-enters and then she plants her foot all wrong on the turf and gets up saying, I'm out, a couple times. And I'm gutted for Midge in this club. We still do not have an answer as to the severity of her injury. I'm preparing for the worst, but yeah, stay positive, I guess, fans. Hopefully we'll get news soon. And have I mentioned that I hate turf on this podcast? Because I do. I really hate turf. Kind of happy that they got to have 0-0. I mean, neither team was playing extremely well here. I think Gotham had a little bit of momentum going into the halftime. Your thoughts on this first half, Ruby?
I really hate turf as well. It was really rough for Gotham in that first half. I feel like that game was going, the pace was really fast, and it had, I mean, at some part has to do with the turf. That's why the ball travels faster. Um, it it went really fast. Yeah, they were playing on Gotham's side most of the time. I was really worried for Gotham. They were not able to take control of that first half, and I was getting really worried. They were passing those long shots to Smith, and we know what Smith can do. If you leave her alone, you give her space, you give her the time, she is lethal. And thank God for VAR, because if we didn't have VAR, I think probably they wouldn't have seen those offsides. I have to give compliments to the back line because they were really well organized, and that's why Smith got that offsides. Overall, it was a back and forth. For me, Portland looked a little better than Gotham in the first half, but Gotham kept fighting.
Yeah, it's very similar to the game against Racing last year when if Gotham cannot close down the defensive backs in their build out and they're able to pick their heads up and just find Smith over the top. And against Racing last year was Catlana just finding space over the top. It's really hard to keep a team in their zone if you're not pressing them the correct ways. And they just had a hard time controlling Smith. But overall, I think the defense held well. They won 54% of their tackles in the first half, 21 clearances, which is a crazy number for one half.
Yeah.
And they won all their physical duels. They were tops in duels won, ground duels, aerial duels, and successful dribbles. So physically, they were good. They were up to the task. It just was not a good offensively and not a good controlled chaos first half, I guess you could call that.
Yeah, I think there should be, for Gotham, better passing for them. I think their passing was okay, but I think they should be a little more accurate with their passing, because I feel also Portland, when they were defending, they would gang up on Gotham. Whoever had the ball, a Gotham player would have two or sometimes even three Portland players on them. So that's why it was really hard for Gotham to keep control of that ball. And they would pass it to a Gotham player, and the Portland players were all over that player as well. So either way, I think Gotham did a great job.
It's a system that needs to work the way it's supposed to. And when you're entering new players that have maybe had 1 week with the system, it's a little bit hard to stay completely on point and all working together.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's exactly why the reason was, but when you have players like Sonnet and Dunn coming in who are not used to the system,
yeah,
it's a little bit different to get on the same page. It's a short time. It's not their fault. It's just, again, it's a short time. But I think that I think the best player on the pitch the first half was Sam Hyatt. I think she was excellent. She created the game's best chance. And I said this to the audience during the preseason episode. I said Sam Hyatt's like her trick that she has in her bag is that she is very good vision and she could play balls past the midfield and she can just play one-time balls over the top and find forwards. And that's kind of what her first instinct is to find forwards. And she found, I think it was Crystal Dunn on the break, and that created one of our best chances in the first half. So I think she had a solid game defensively, but I think she was an extra spark offensively when we needed it.
Yeah. And then also in this first half, we saw Esther trying to do that bicycle kick again. So if she keeps trying, eventually she's going to get a bicycle kick goal.
Yeah, I hope so. Gotham continued the momentum from the first half into the second half and started putting Portland more on their heels. I think the biggest moment of the match is Sophia Smith getting behind Gotham's backline again, and then VAR calls it back for being offside. Big sigh of relief. Obviously, it was a beautiful goal.
Yeah.
It was like 0.001% part of my body that's like feels bad for her because I thought that was a beautiful goal, but I'll take it. But Gotham presses on. Brunina finds Brunina, the substitute, finds Purse's replacement in Ryan, cutting across the defense, plays a picture-perfect pass to Esther, who doesn't need a second chance. She puts it in the back of the net. This is a striker's goal. It was beautiful. The 3,000th regular season goal in NWSL history. Cassie Miller makes multiple game-saving saves in this one. And Gotham controls this game for the last 20 minutes like they do, and they see this one out. 2023's best road team continues on. We're on to the Courage.
Yeah, and we have to remember that this is their first regular season game. They haven't really played 90 minutes. We have to be a little patient. They got new players that need to get used to their playing style. It's going to keep, we're just going to see them getting better and better because the talent that we have in this team is ridiculous. Now, going back to Brunina and Ryan, I don't know, but I feel like once they entered the field, there was a shift in the game, a shift in like Gotham was just going for it. I feel that these two players were really hungry going out there. And the goal that, that Esther put in there, thanks to Ryan's assist, it was beautiful.
Yeah, they never stop. And it's a mentality thing. And roster aside, the thing that's going to carry this team through the season is going to be that mentality because they were a machine in this game. They didn't let off one bit. Even if they were back on their heels or they were pressing, whatever, they gave a 90-plus minute performance that was just nonstop. The energy was always there. And I think that obviously we talk about Brunina and Ryan. They know each other. They play well with each other. So when they put them both in the field at the same time, she knew exactly what Ryan wanted to do, played her into space, and it was picture perfect. And I also shout out to Taryn Torres for her return to the squad. I'm very excited for her.
Yeah, it's amazing. We didn't see her last season because due to injury, but now she's back and she's worked so hard to get to this point. So honestly, I cannot wait to see her play and show what she has because in 2022, there was so much potential in her. We saw how she plays, kind of a little bit kind of like Allie Long, but we haven't seen her play in a while. So now that she's coming back healthy, plus this is an Olympic year, so we're gonna need Taryn Torres for when the nationals are out.
Yeah, and can we just talk about Esther for a bit?
Yes.
All right, so you just have to be impressed with Esther. Her drive is incredible. She was grinding all game, and she was every single place on the pitch. If you're trying to track her as a defender, I would drive you crazy. She's just every single place. She's dropping back, helping out her teammates get out of bad positions. And then you get on offense and she's always in the right places. And good strikers, I said this 100 times, but good strikers do the right things over and over and over, regardless of the service. And as that goal was developing, about maybe a half a minute before that, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I just feel bad for Esther because she's just working so hard, but she's just not getting any service. And then that play happens and commentators curse, I guess, in my head. But it worked out. But she just never misses her mark. I mean, it looks easy when she does it, but man, that was a finisher's goal, striker's goal. It's just she puts in so much work, and I'm so happy to have her on this squad. And yeah, she's incredible.
I'm telling you, she's different. She's really different. And that's why last week I picked her. She's going to be top goal scorer for Gotham this year.
She's one up on it right now.
I'm winning so far.
Yeah. At the end of the day, on the road at Portland is never an easy task. And I'm proud of the fight of this team. Good teams beat teams that they're supposed to beat, but great teams find ways to win regardless of whether they're supposed to win or not. And Gotham did that. They stayed at it and they found a way. That was a performance. That was a great performance minus, Williams, Lopez, Lavelle, and Midge for half. Just proud of this team and their fight.
Yeah, and just like Coach Amaro said, fight together, win together. This was a win for everyone in the team. It doesn't matter how it happened, but it happened. They fought till the end. Despite Portland putting in 2 goals that they were called back, usually that messes up with your confidence and your head. But they didn't stop. They kept fighting till the end, and that's why they won. And this sets a tone for the rest of the season that they're just going to fight till the end.
Speaking of Amoros, he says that he's immensely proud of this team's performance, the way they battled, fought in this amazing environment in Portland against adversity. They brought the best versions of themselves, especially defensively, and it was a moment of brilliance for the win.
Exactly. That's true. The numbers you were saying earlier, the defense really put in the work in there, and it showed. That's why they got the win as well.
Yeah. Agree 100%. And Amoros also says with Purse's injury, it's yet another symptom of the W Cup. And with the clubs playing players, and now they're paying the consequences for it. Amoros says there's no update yet on with the injuries for Purse. And he said it motivated the team to get the win.
Yeah, it's tough to lose some of your top players like LaBelle, Williams, and now Purse due to the Gold Cup. It really sucks for the team and the regular season because now you have to plan out different how you're going to go about the next game.
Let's get to some NWSL Field of Vision stats of the game. I had some fun on Twitter with our first post-game stats thread of the season. Trotted out some new graphics. I hope you guys like them. If you don't, follow us on Over Gotham Pod on Twitter. You're missing something. So, Ruby, any stats?
Yeah, my stat of the game is Gotham had 16 shots, but only 6 of those were on target.
However, they had a higher on-target percentage rate than Portland, so good for them. Portland had more shots, but Gotham got them on target when it mattered. My stat is 31 clearances. The defense held against last season's highest-scoring team, and that will go a long way. Now, going back to what we talked earlier about Gotham being in their own end, I looked back. I tried to find the last time Gotham was pinned in their own end, and it was against Portland last year. So it's just a stylistic matchup against Portland, which they're not really able to take control of the game against that team. However, we beat them both times, 1-0. End of the day, scoreboard. All right, so let's get the player of the week. We're actually changing this up. So we are going with hero of the game now, since Gotham stole our fan pod. I'm still mad about it.
I know, I saw it and I kept scrolling. I was waiting for your poll.
Ours was right anyway. So answers were Miller, VAR on Smith, Esther, and then Davidson/Hyatt. And the winner was a close one, was Miller at 37%, VAR on Smith 32%, and Esther at 29%. So the fans chose Miller. Ruby, do you agree?
I do agree. She did a great job out there, especially going a team like Portland. She was blocking and she got a shout out. So I think Miller deserved this hero of the match, not player of the match, hero of the match. And I love to see how these keepers that come to Gotham are so great. We had Abby Smith. We also had Betos, really great goalkeepers. And it just keeps going with Miller to show that we have those keepers that really have great talent, and it shows.
Gotham doesn't miss. And I think it also has to be Miller. I think it's really close, though.
Yeah.
I think Esther is really close. And obviously, the VAR Smith definitely did help us there. Now, hashtag once Gotham updates. So Gotham B, Utah Royals team doctors confirmed that former Sky Blue Offensive Rookie of the Year turned left back Amani Dorsey has a ruptured Achilles, and I'm just devastated for her.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking because last year she didn't play due to mental health, and she took that year off. And now she felt better to come back and she was ready to play. It's going to be her comeback year. And now she comes back and she gets injured. It's really heartbreaking. Usually an injury like this is probably like 6 months or more. Pretty sure she's not going to play the season, but I hope she heals fast, speedy recovery for her.
Yeah, it uses it's like 9 months around there. So yeah, she's gone for the season, which again, devastating. She looked really good when she was playing in the first game or so. Just wish her well. And Naomi Kawasumi is now director of Japan Football Association.
Congrats to Naho. I saw it on Instagram, not on Instagram, on Twitter. And I think she will be so great for that position. She's going to stay in the soccer world, and I cannot wait the things she's going to do and achieve in that position.
Yeah, she's a legend of the sport, and her work ethic is second to none. Great teammate, great person, all the luck to Homie. Let's get to the standings. Gotham is still undefeated, and we're going to roll with that. They are in fourth place, 3 points behind first place, so they get one more win. They can catch up to first place, which is very exciting. And it is also good to see San Diego Wave, Portland Thorns at the bottom of the table, at least for a week.
For real, at least for a week. And it's interesting because last year, how things ended, Chicago Red Stars and KC were at the bottom of that table. And now for now, they're at the top of that table. Each team has 2 wins out of the 2 games that they have played. So that's great. And Portland is the only team that has 2 losses in the 2 games they have played.
Yeah, that's a moral victory for the entire league. And our next 2 opponents are the teams directly above us. So we have a chance to make up ground and get near the top of the table quickly. And the first chance we get to do it is our next opponent, which is Gotham heading on the road again to the Courage. And again, the Gotham FC has not lost to the Courage in 5 matches, outscoring them 9-4 in the process. Now, the Courage are the league's the highest possession team in the league, and it's not even close. They want the ball, and if they don't have it, they win it back really quickly, and then they hold on to it for a long time. And this works into Gotham's press, as evidenced in the last 5 games against them. Mm-hmm. They don't always do a lot with their possession, which, so what's your thoughts on this matchup, Ruby?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Gotham has a high chance of winning this game. I always seen Gotham as in the last couple, they have played better than North Carolina. And I think Gotham is going to bring that energy to North Carolina as they have in the past 5 matches. I would say, I think I'm jumping ahead, but I'm going to give my prediction to this game. And I think it's going to be Gotham 2, North Carolina 0. So 2-0.
Okay. I'm excited about that. This is a different Courage team than before. They have Ashley Sanchez now, which changes a lot of what they do. And it's a complete steal for them. You couldn't imagine a better fit for Ashley Sanchez than that team. And she's been a noted Gotham killer. So we're going to have to worry about her in this game. Now, styles make fights. And I think that the way Gotham plays, they play into our style more than we play into theirs. And I think I like Gotham's chances here. So yeah, we're going to go with that. But what are we manifesting this week?
Hopefully with this win, they could go into the top 3 in the standing. So top 3 for Gotham. That's what I'm manifesting for this week.
Manifesting one thing, and that is health.
Yes.
We got to get injured players back. That's all I want at this point.
Yeah. Please, yeah. Let them go play and come back healthy.
Any random thoughts before we go?
Yes. I was telling you earlier, but I just have to say that I just went to the store and I got a bunch of Ollipops. Seriously, got probably like 20 cans because it's on sale. And I've been so obsessed with Ollipops for a while. I used to buy them like at almost $3. So when I saw they were like, I think it's like $1.79, I was like, oh my God, it's a steal.
Yeah, I have a strange diet. I haven't had soda for over 20 years. I haven't had fast food for over like 23. It's like craziness. So yeah, I do have those Ollipops from like time to time, and it scratches that itch, I guess you can say. So yeah, the unofficial fake cola of the podcast.
I know, right? Come on, Ollipops, sponsor us.
All right, so I'm ready to talk to my friends at the Courage. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go.
Let's go.
So, fans, that I love supporter groups, and because who better to tell the stories of the league and the sport than the people that drum and they chant and they sweat and they bleed the club that they cheer for, and they always advocate for a better sport. So, my guest tonight, I'm happy to bring on the treasurer of the Uproar, Kate. So, Kate, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm excited to do this.
Yes. So tell us just real quickly about yourself. I mean, being in a supporter group is something different. It's unique, and it takes a special kind of person. So what drew you to the Uproar in general?
So I really kind of started following the Courage in 2019, right around the time they went on their run to win the league again. And then COVID hit. And then as we started being able to get back into play, the Uproar just was kind of like inviting for everybody, wanted everyone to come hang out with them. Real entry point. I don't have a lot of friends who like soccer, so I didn't really have anyone who wanted to go to games with. And they're like, well, sit with us. Like, we have tons of people down there who don't come with anybody. It's kind of like lifts that barrier to entry a little bit, to let people know that there's other fans there that might not have like that point of contact inside the stadium to want to go.
Yeah, it's all about community, and all those support groups that I've talked to are just so welcoming. They want everybody to join because you believe the team that you cheer for, and you want everyone else to feel that same thing. So you want everybody to be in on what you got going over there. And I know you guys are incredible, and you guys cheer incredibly loud. And so I had a great time talking to you guys so far, and I'm glad we're able to do this here. But was soccer in your blood? Did you grow up playing soccer? Or is this something new for you?
It's something totally new. I think I'm probably one of the only kids in the world that probably didn't get the opportunity to play. I grew up a huge baseball fan.
Gotcha.
That was all I wanted to do, baseball, softball. And then once I got older and started working, wanted still to follow like a team, and there's no teams in the Raleigh area. We have the Durham Bulls, and moved around a lot and came back home, and the Courage was like an easy team to get involved with. They, super easy to watch, super easy to get to the games, a lot of fun, a lot of energy. Didn't know much about it. And the more I learned, the more I fell in love with it. I was like, oh, I can watch this. I can do this.
It's a completely different sport than anything else that you've, I went to a hockey game the other day, and I was into like, where's the supporter group? Where's the chanting? Where's the drums? It's just different. Obviously, with supporter groups, there's always a collective mission to grow the sport and grow. So what do you do to like reach out to new members and people that come to the stadium? What do you do?
So we tailgate before every home game. It's open to anybody who wants to come. You don't have to bring anything. We have food for everybody who wants to come attend. We still have Facebook groups. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. Anytime anyone messages us, we try and reach back out. If there's questions, we get a lot of questions about the club that we can't always 100% answer, but we try and like direct new supporters, fans that have been there a while, to the correct spots to get answers. We try and just be there for people to have a good time, to interact, get to meet people who also like soccer.
I hear there is a new podcast for the Uproar that's started by 2 supporter members.
I am actually on that podcast.
You are
the
on
Lions
that
Pitch.
podcast.
Yes.
Okay. Good, because I had 2 of my things I wanted to do. I wanted to talk with the people on the podcast, and I wanted to talk to the supporter group. So I knocked right out of the park. Perfect. So tell us about this podcast. You guys just started, right?
It did. We just did our second episode that comes out tomorrow. One of the members of the Uproar, he was a new member of the Uproar, and was like, nobody's got a podcast going. We're one of the only teams in the league who doesn't have one. I would really like to start one. Still trying to figure out all the ins and outs of what's happening inside the game. I really love the game. Mary, the president of the Uproar, was like, well, I know somebody who likes the tactical side of it, might be willing to sit down and talk to you. And it just kind of went from there. It was something that was just kind of passed back and forth, and then sitting in front of a computer going, oh, I'm doing this now. So
fantastic. So that's super exciting to me. And obviously, if you need any help with anything, ask me any questions you want. I'll be willing to help you guys grow your podcast because it's such a service, and I've been waiting for a like true courage podcast for a long time. So I'm really glad you're doing that. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. It's been fun. I've enjoyed it because I've watched, like, I go to the games and then I watch like the away games with different people. But sitting back and rewatching it and getting to like see stuff that I didn't catch while I was watching it has been a lot of fun, and been like, oh, I see what they're trying to do.
Yes.
I get the plan.
Very good. So let's talk about this team. You had a pretty exciting off season. I would say there's, I call it an arms race between the three. I think the three best teams as far as the off season was concerned was the Orlando Pride, the Courage, and Gotham. I think we all knocked it out of the park, and I'm just super excited for the level that's been raised. And I just want to highlight those three teams. So, how do you feel you guys did this off season, and what are you really excited about this roster?
I think that the Courage went all in, and I was not expecting that. Going after Ashley Sanchez was huge. I felt last year we got a little too predictable with our style of play. Like, everybody knew what was going to happen. So I think bringing in an on-the-ball playmaker, like, who makes things happen, makes those runs. Beely Rauch is going to be really, really good. Coming from Wolfsburg, like, that game against Houston was awesome for her. And then just the new rookies we have, I think, are going to be pretty good. And I'm glad to see Haley Hopkins get some time. And
there's such a buzz around the league. What I think Orlando, Gotham, and the Courage did so well is that they're defined. And I think that is a new step for this league, where it's not just you're just trying to field a team of players. Like, you have an identity, you know exactly the players that you want to get. And Nejas went out there and got the players that he wanted that fit his system, his style of play. And I love that, because as someone who's like, as you, as a podcaster who covers this league, knowing, like, having that identity is fun. It's so fun. You get to know exactly what you're to expect from the opponents, what you want to do. It's just fun and fluid, and I really like Sean Nejas' system there. It's unique and it's different. So tell the fans a little bit more about his system and what makes it so unique. So Sean's a possession-based coach. You don't see that a lot in the league because we're very transitional in the NWSL. Sean values having the ball most of the time. I think against Utah we had 67% possession or something like outrageously high. And this year, going after like the players he got, like, he went after players who could play on the ball, who wanted the ball, were comfortable having the ball for majority of the time in the game. It can be slow. It can be very frustrating to watch. Like, you know, you get a runner in the box and there's nobody else there, and we pass back to the midfield line. Like, that's very, you have to understand what he's trying to do. It's not as pretty as Gotham, like one pass to Yasmin and back to Esther for a goal. Like, that doesn't happen quite as often, but when it all works out, it's nice football to watch. Yeah, it feels like a little bit, sometimes it's like possession for the sake of possession, and you want the ball, yes. And if you don't have it, you get it back and you hold on to it forever. Yes. But again, Ashley Sanchez changes all of that, because she's the one who has the keys, who can unlock defenses and add a whole nother level. So just how excited is this fan base for her showing up? This was the talk of the town for a little bit with her coming on board. Nobody thought she would leave the Spirit, and then we certainly didn't think that we were going to make the move to go get her. And very excited to see what she does playing possession, like, because I don't think the Spirit played quite as possession based last year as we do, and getting to see her get the time on the ball and be able to get to dictate play a little bit. One, hopefully she settled in very nicely the first 2 games, and then hopefully we'll be able to allow, like, Narumi, but not going to make some plays to be able to run. Pinto's looked really good since, like, getting some time this year, and allowing Lucy and Hopkins to, like, crash forward, just because we do have someone who can make the plays. And I think we were missing that a little bit last year. We didn't have a true, like, attacking mid who was able to dictate what was happening. Yeah, Pinto's another talented player. We had her over at Gotham. She was actually our first player interview. I'm sad that her time at Gotham didn't go the way she wanted it to. And, you know, because afraid it didn't play young players. It just didn't happen. So I'm glad she's getting the time now and she's growing into her own and she's finding her position at your team. So I'm just proud of her. And I always root for her anytime she's not playing Gotham. And do you have any update on Caroline? I mean, I haven't heard anything for a little while. She's got to be close to getting back, right?
My guess is she's close to running again, on grass. She bops around, like you see her in like Instagram photos. Like she talks about the team a lot. If you follow her on social media, we'll see her from the Courage. Like they'll post pictures of her. I think I heard sometime maybe after the Olympics she might get game time. That seems to be in that like 10-month period.
Sanchez and Caroline sounds pretty darn scary to me. So that's got to be a welcome addition to the team down the stretch.
Oh, if she comes back to half the player that she was, like, we're cooking. Because she's phenomenal.
Do you have an official rival or do you not?
I would say our official rival is the Washington Spirit.
Okay.
Other people would say that it's probably the Portland Thorns, because for that like 4-year period, it kind of went back and forth between the two teams. And I think, do you think when Boston comes into the league that'll turn into like a traditional like Boston New York rivalry?
That should. I'm really excited about it. That could be a really good one. I'm really excited for Boston.
I lived in Boston for a few years, so I'm really excited to see how this comes about.
Yeah, hopefully they get their stadium up and running. So there's some buzz around your team. You just had, so congrats on your highest attended opener, which is pretty exciting. So what is there buzz around this team right now as far as like the surrounding area?
I'm starting to see a little bit more talk in the town. People embracing it a little bit more. I think as we're seeing like the increase in women's sports in general about what's happening, like it's on this like just astronomical rise with viewership. I think we're starting to see a little bit of the trickle down of that. The team has done a really, really good job this year of trying to like get out and like market the games a little bit more than I think we saw last year and the year before. But I have heard people talking about it. People are excited about it. Hopefully we continue to see the increased like fans in the stands because that's what it's all about.
Tell me a little bit about Cary, North Carolina. Like, is there there's just college towns nearby, right? So do you have colleges nearby?
Yes. So Cary is actually a lot more residential. The colleges kind of like go around the outside of it. So you have NC State that's close to downtown Raleigh, which is probably 15-20 minutes from the stadium, depending on where you are at the campus. Duke University is in Durham, and then you have NC Central that is there as well. And then Chapel Hill is in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And it's about probably another like 15 minutes away from the stadium. We do have some universities downtown. We have St. Augustine's, Peace, Meredith. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I feel like I'm missing a school that's close to it. But Raleigh like might be a super fast growing city, Cary area, Apex area, but there's not a lot of public transport infrastructure. So if you don't have a car, it's hard to get there. Wake Med's in an unfortunate spot in Cary. It's very hard to kind of get into the stadium. It's on a very busy road. And then if the games are on like a Friday night at 7, just leaving work traffic just backs it up forever.
And what do you think they could do to increase attendance there? I mean, the stadium isn't all that big, but but you can probably get more fans there, I guess, if you
absolutely think we can get more fans. I think they just need to continue doing the marketing for it. The social media, the not just marketing in Cary and downtown Raleigh, like branching out, like hitting those universities like you were talking about, like getting over towards Duke, getting over towards Chapel Hill, getting over towards like, I'm in a suburb of Raleigh, about like 15 minutes out of it. So coming more my way, getting out to some of like the up and coming areas and just talking about it and how do we get there. They've redone a lot of the highway systems here. So like it's a lot easier on the highway, but.
And as far as like the area of Cary, is there much competition there as far as like for sports? for sports attention, like we have in New York. Is obviously New York, New Jersey. There's 20 different teams that you have to try to steal fans from.
So right now we're going up against the Canes, the Hurricanes. So that's NHL. They're on a hot streak. I think 5 years in the playoffs. That will compete through June if we make it all the way to the Stanley Cup. We have the Durham Bulls, which is a AAA team. There was a movie about them, so they're pretty well known. Great baseball stadium to go to. So there are those avenues that you can, like, if you're looking for a different sport, go to.
And are you afraid at all that I know it's far away, but the USL or Super League team coming in, do you feel that might pull some fans away, or do you think it just makes everything grow because it's just more attention to the area?
I think for the Courage, we're going to be very, very lucky because the USL is going to be in Charlotte, which is like 3 hours from where we are. Hopefully it'll be a natural rivalry where we'll get to do like preseason games against each other, like one-off games to help grow the attendance of it. I'm excited to see what the USL does, though, like, and how it is able to compete in the landscape. I know they're playing a completely different calendar, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, so much is still unknown. We still don't know what their salary structure is or how they're building their rosters, and it seems like their owners can't even like agree on any of that stuff. So we're all in the dark, but it's coming pretty quickly. So it's going to be an interesting summer, to say the least. I'm
hoping they eventually do promotion relegation. I think that adds such a spark because the NWSL is lucky where everybody's competing. Last year, I think it wasn't until like the third to last game of the season where we started seeing people like officially mathematically out of the playoffs. But if you get like the WSL or like the Spain League or Bundesliga, halfway through the season what the top half is going to be. But if you're also fighting in the bottom half for getting to stay up, makes those games more fun.
Yeah. So let's end on some fun stuff, which is obviously talking about the good things that the Uproar does in the community. So tell us about something like your community-focused stuff that you guys do.
So we're really about bringing like-minded fans together. We really mean y'all means all. Everyone's welcome. Everyone can come. We do the, if you become a member of Uproar, we do a Black Women's Player donation at the end of the year. So every membership is $5 donated to that. We'll try and do, like, during the month of Pride, like, we'll do like a Pride Raiser where we'll donate money to a local LGBTQ like environment around the town of Cary or in Raleigh where they need the money the most to donate to that. Last year we donated for the Challenge Cup to one of Brianna Pinto's, her clinic that she puts on for underprivileged children at UNC. We donated to that. Really try and give back to the community as much as we can.
Yeah, and I hear you have a world famous Pride game celebration. So tell us a little bit about that. There's a Pride festival you guys have essentially.
Yeah, last year they went all out for it. We had like a drag show, lots of like food trucks came out, lots of LGBTQ groups came to talk about what they offer, what they're bringing to the table. Unfortunately got rained out, so that was a bummer. Got to play the game, bummer. But they had canceled the...
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully this year you're going to like do it up and do it twice as big.
It'll be nice this year because it's actually in June and not in July. The last 2 years have been in July.
Yeah. And like as a supporter group, I mean, I think that the main message I want people to take away from supporter groups is that obviously the league ownership have not always had like the fans in mind when they do a lot of these things, and they have not treated the players and the fans as well as they should have. Obviously, that's probably like the understatement of the century. But one thing that's been a constant is supporter groups fighting for everything. You guys fight for players' rights. You fight for anything that has to do with the fans. You're always advocating on their behalf. Mm-hmm. And you guys are in the trenches for year after year after year, fighting to get better things for this league and the sport. And everything that's good about the sport has happened because of supporter groups and the fans that are behind that. So I just want to thank you for all that. And obviously, what does it feel like to be a part of something that's so powerful in making such a powerful change in the sport.
It's honestly nice because I think as we get into sports and we're really involved in sports, we don't see all the good that can come out of it. And being able to use a little bit of our collective power to bring about positive change, honestly just makes me feel good. Like we can go to bat for things that we don't think is quite right. What was it, a couple of years ago when everyone was still working like second and third jobs to make ends meet. And we're like, well, let's stop that. Like, how do we do that? No more side hustles. Like, how do we show our support for that? The situation in Washington a couple of years ago with their coach and their owners, like all the supporters groups kind of banded together to say, this isn't right. This isn't a good thing. And a collective of voices is a lot more powerful than a singular voice. And I think us being able to do that is just super powerful.
It certainly is. And again, I thank you for all the work that you guys do over there. One of these days, I'm going to get down to the stadium. If I go there, what is a food thing that's unique to that stadium that people should go have?
To our stadium, we don't have like a specific like food that's there. We bring in food trucks.
Okay.
So in the fan zone that we have, alpaca is probably what I would do. It's Peruvian food.
Peruvian food. That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So our two teams are playing this weekend, this Saturday at 7 p.m. NWSL Plus. I'm excited about it. I always love when our teams play. I feel like our differentiated styles play really well against each other, and it's always a struggle. And so I'm excited for this matchup. Are you?
I'm very excited for it. I think this is a key test for both teams. I think it's early in the season, so I'm kind of excited to get you guys early in the season just because a lot of new faces. How quickly do you gel together? I would like to say I'm very sorry to hear about Midge Purse. Like, that is absolutely horrible news. So disappointing because I think she's a phenomenal player and just such a loss. And hopefully she comes back 10 times better than she was when she went out. Yeah,
it's very similar to you guys with Caroline. It's just a very important player that you just hate to see any team lose. So thanks for that. And so we'll see you Saturday. Good luck at the game. Hopefully how's the weather looking?
Looks like it's supposed to be sunny and around 70. So
perfect.
Fingers crossed the pollen stays off because we're getting a lot of rain right now and it can kind of disappear so everyone can be outside and not sneezing everywhere.
Absolutely. So where can they find your podcast?
So we were on all of the traditional podcasts, Apple, Spotify. We're at the Lions Pitch. There is a newsletter as well called the Lions Pitch. So you can check us out there.
And where can they find the Uproar?
The Uproar is at Instagram as the Uproar. Twitter is the Uproar. So it's the uproarnc.com.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on, and I will talk to you soon. And great luck with your podcast. And again, thank you for all you guys do.
Yes, absolutely. Good luck this season.
Hi, everyone. This is Gary. Thank you for listening and supporting our project. Here are other ways you can support the show and connect with us. First, word of mouth is everything. So please share our show with anyone who might listen. Also, please rate us 5 stars on Spotify and review us on iTunes. You can purchase our merchandise at the TeePublic store. Join in the conversation on Twitter at OverGothamPod and Instagram at SoccerOverGotham. Lastly, you can email your thoughts and questions at soccerovergotham@gmail.com. Once again, thank you.
Like hot potato